Hey everybody, and welcome back to Untethered. Glad you guys are hanging out with us again this week. It's that time of year again. It's 2024, it's a new year, so it's time to talk about how much money we spent in campgrounds last year, and we're also going to share our favorites with you in this video, so we're going to do it a little different this time. If you remember our video from last year about how we were lazy campers, we made a few promises, we kept a couple, we didn't keep some of the others, so we did do things a little bit different this year. But if you want to check that video out, we'll put a link in the description. But let's jump right in to the biggest number of the day, and that number is $14,397.72. That's what we spent in total in campgrounds in 2023. That averages out to $35.45 per night, and we stayed at 38 different locations in 2023. So when we give those numbers out, those are all-in numbers. That's the taxes, excluding any discounts we may have had, which aren't very many to be honest. And that includes 114 nights last year that we stayed at our home base in Illinois, which ran us about $22 a night, or in Arkansas, where it was basically free to us, minus running a generator a little bit. So later in this video, we're gonna break down the money, how we spent it, where we spent it, what was the most expensive, what was the cheapest. But for now, we want to talk about our favorite campgrounds of 2023. We're going to put links to all these campgrounds down in the description. There's a lot of good information in there, links to any products we use, places we stay, etc. So if you see something that strikes your fancy, don't forget to check them out.
We've stayed at a lot of places, a lot of great places, but today we're just going to talk about the top 10 that stood out to us one way or another, or maybe just made us feel good when we left. But let's start with a negative. There's only one campground that we will never ever go back to.
And apparently a lot of you agree with us, because we have over 30,000 views on that video, and I think most of you were just as outraged as we were. And that one campground that was so bad was down in Biloxi, Mississippi. Now, we had an incredible time in Biloxi, Mississippi, and it's on a list of places that we want to go back to and do more things. We definitely won't go back to that campground, and we've already got some suggestions of better places to stay when we go back next time. This place kind of checked all the boxes for the campground you don't want to go to. It was actually a mobile home park. We were in a mobile home spot. I think we stretched out well over 50 feet of power cord, well over 50 feet of water hose, and every sewer hose we had to make the connections. That wasn't even the whole part. We had neighbors that were borderline abusive to dogs. We had dog excrement all over the place. And when we talked to the management about it, they said, we're cheap. So it kind of is what it is. Definitely won't be going back there. We'll put a link to that video in the description if you guys want to check it out, but don't go there.
We're very unhappy with our neighbor. We have a hard time not letting some of the redneck come out in us. Don't go there. Everyone's gonna judge a park a little differently and have different priorities. And we figured out pretty quickly while preparing for this video where our priorities are. We kind of lean towards the parks that had bigger lots, some serenity, were quiet, maybe a good value, but still full hookup. We like full hookups. Cody, let's talk to them about the two honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but they had something a little unique that we just couldn't leave them out.
The first honorable mention I want to get into today is Lost Alaskan RV Resort in Alpine, Texas. If you don't know where Alpine, Texas is, plug it into Google Maps, because it's down there. And the reason we were there is because we were actually staying in Big Bend National Park about 80 miles south, and we went up to Alpine to replenish supplies. If you've been to Big Bend, you know there's not a whole lot down there in the way of resources or amenities. So we bounced up to this little jewel of a park, and the thing that really impressed me there, besides easy in, easy out, nice laundry facilities, stuff like that, is that they had a whole outside bay that you could pull your truck and trailer onto to wash it. They had just a small fee, and you could reserve it for an hour or two and go out there and take care of everything. And that worked out really nice for me to get all the dust off the truck and trailer from being down in Big Bend. That one definitely hits the honorable mention list. Hey, can you start filling up the bucket while I dig out some supplies?
I thought I was the camera person.
Oh, you're such a jerk. Just get it done.
You're a jerk. This is your thing.
Next up on the honorable mention list is one we stayed at just recently, Horseshoe RV Park in Ardmore, Oklahoma. The big thing about this park is the value. At about 25 bucks a day if you stay for a week, it really has everything you need. The amenities are great. They've got a nice playground for the kids. Angela said the washers and dryers were all in good working order, and it was quiet. It was really nice to get off the road for a week there, enjoy some of Ardmore and have some peace and quiet, because I gotta tell you, we've stayed in some really quiet places and I'm getting spoiled to quiet campgrounds.
And the owners were so nice. I loved the energy. They were excited about their campground and what they're doing, and they wanted to make sure that everyone staying there was comfortable and had what they needed. And for someone that's full-time, we appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
Here's 5 campgrounds that we liked.
So let's jump into these in no particular order. I want to bring up Elephant Butte RV Resort in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. We stayed there earlier this year for our 20th year anniversary, and it was great. The whole point of us going there was to find a nice resort where we could just chill, not have to leave the park if we don't have to, and just really enjoy each other's time and company for our 20th anniversary. And this place checked the boxes. The prices were very reasonable. We did have an electric bill at the end of it, but it was less than 20 bucks. Not a big deal at all. Great place, indoor pool, indoor hot tub, indoor gym, beautiful place, beautiful sights, great owners, nice amenities. Just a great place to stay out in New Mexico. Next up is Roadrunner Travelers RV Park down in TERLINGUA, Texas. We ended up at Roadrunner, not even planning to be at Roadrunner. It was just a convenient place for us to meet up with Kevin and Alicia from Paving New Paths. It's a great little park. It's got a nice outdoor play area. Actually has 2 of them on each end of the park, with a dog park and cornhole and adult Jenga and horseshoes and all kinds of stuff. No laundromat or clubhouse or anything like that. But remember, you're right in the middle of a ghost town. So this was a pretty cool spot to find, really close to the entrance to Big Bend National Park.
Another was a Stillwell store in RV Park, and it was technically listed in Alpine, Texas, but it was actually like 90 minutes from there. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was 5 minutes from Big Bend entrance, one of the Big Bend entrances. But what I liked about it, although it didn't have a lot of amenities, it did have a little cabana type, I don't know what you would actually call it. And every day, twice a day, there were javelina and deer that would come along through the campground or on the edge of the campground. And it was just so relaxing and nice.
Next up on the list is the KOA in San Antonio, Texas. The one thing I didn't care for here is that the sites were just a little bit small. It was a little tight, not too bad. If you had a bigger rig than ours, you could always park sideways. But this is definitely one of the more beautiful parks we've stayed at. Big, nice fountains, gated all the way around, very secure right outside of San Antonio, not too far from the Riverwalk. And they have a lot of offerings in terms of food and deli and just a lot of different amenities for their customers there. And there's a great Mexican restaurant right down the road if you make a right. Good cheap food. I think we even talked about it in a video there. But if you want a good place to hang out in San Antonio, I'd definitely recommend the KOA. I could do it.
Oh, I'm not swimming.
It's 80 degrees today. I could get in that.
I could sunbathe and dip my feet probably. This place was crowded earlier.
Yeah. Next up is KOA again. This time, this is the KOA in Houston at Lake Conroe. Beautiful KOA. Huge, just a huge place with nice big sites. They have a big pond right in the middle with some walkways you can walk out across and feed the ducks and things like that. But I think our favorite thing there is that, at least when we went, they had a farmer's market every Saturday, and the farmer's market itself was massive. We came back with a ton of food, spent way too much money. I think we might have spent as much at the farmer's market as we did on the campground, but it was an incredible time, beautiful place, very well done.
This is a nice KOA.
What are you doing?
I mean, they're just all a little different. Some of them require a bunch of stuff. Some just like, you walk in and tell me your name and they're like, yep, you're good. This year has been a blur, but Cody and I agreed on the top 5, so we at least did that. These are in no particular order. but we both agreed that these are our top favorite picks of campgrounds in 2023.
Let's talk about Dark Sky RV Park in KANAB, Utah. This one makes the top 5 pretty easily, and have we not been to so many awesome places in 2023, it'd probably be number 1. The owners are really nice to deal with. They actually met us at the site, walked us through everything, and made it very easy. This is an easy in, easy out place. They take care of your propane refills. They feed everybody dinner on Thursday night. You have awesome dark skies above you where you can sit out and watch from sunrise to sunset. You could just sit outside the entire day there and love it. They've got a great bike trail that leads out to town where you can take another nice ride around the lake. Definitely one I want to go back to.
One of the top 5 is Rustic Barn RV Park in KIELER, Wisconsin. It was close to a lot of things, but you were still out in the country. You were next to a dairy farm, so you could see the cows out in the distance. Fields, you could see the tractors come by every day and mow or carry in hay. And it was just a beautiful, serene little place. It was very quiet. And where we were parked, we had a great lot, magnificent views on 3 sides. They had this cute little chapel. So if you wanted to go in there, they would keep it open during the day for anyone that wanted to use it. It was a real church, so it had to be respected as such. But then they had a lot of other cool amenities, a little clubhouse, and we just were really happy with our stay there.
I know I probably ran this one in the ground when we were out there, but Elephant Butte Lake State Park in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. Wonderful place. Very cheap living. The only downside was that it didn't have full hookups, but man, we had a huge lot. It was super quiet. The sunsets, the sunrises, the whole thing was just beautiful, and you couldn't beat the price there. Another favorite this year is Canyonview RV Resort in Grand Junction, Colorado. This place was definitely top notch. The whole place looked pretty new. The lots were paved. It was easy in, easy out on the pull through. They had a nice outdoor hot tub that we enjoyed a lot while we were there. The amenities were great. They had pretty much everything that you could need right there on site. Well-stocked office with a very friendly staff.
The pull in, we literally pulled in and we're dropping. It's just perfection. We have this concrete pad. We have a view of the National Monument right here. All the views are beautiful. Before we say too much, we probably need to test that hot tub out and make sure that it's up to par.
Yeah, man, one of the things I love, and I don't get very often, is when I get to an RV site that actually has 2 sewer hookups. I have the T that hooks both of them together, but they just never quite seem to drain right. Those accordion things keep breaking on me. It's not a big deal, but sometimes it's the little things.
And last but definitely not least is Big Creek RV Park in Annapolis, Missouri. We enjoyed this park because of the space that they had. The lot was really nice, it was large, but they also had a creek that ran beside it. You could go walk beside it, the dogs could go play, and it was shallow enough. A lot of people just went and set their chairs in it and hung out and splashed around. They had a separate field that was a preserve that you could take your bike around, see the birds and the butterflies and the flowers. They even had a petting zoo. Granted, Eris tried to eat one of their chickens, but overall, we will very likely make a return trip to Annapolis, Missouri.
At the beginning of this video, I dropped a big number on you guys. Over $14,000 we spent last year in campgrounds. That sounds like a lot of money. It's under $1,200 a month. Cheaper than most house payments. It was definitely cheaper than ours, and cheaper than some rents. So take that all into account when you hear those big numbers. It's not as bad as it seems. In 2022, we didn't get on the road until April. So this is our first full 12 months of data to look at. So obviously we spent more this year. We did a lot better job of stretching out our stays. I think in the first year we stayed something like 5.5 days and then we moved on. This year we moved every 9.6 days on average. So we almost doubled the length of our stays, which definitely made travel a lot easier for us. So what was our most expensive campground of the year? The KOA in Colorado Springs, Colorado came in at just over $90 a night. That was our most expensive stay for the year. On the other hand of it, the cheapest campground of the year, Elephant Butte Lake State Park out in New Mexico. And $16 a night definitely makes it a winner. Speaking of KOA really got in our pocket last year. And I mentioned this in last year's campground review video. The KOA was really pricey and we were gonna try to stay less. This year, we stayed a bunch at KOA on the first half of the year. Not so much on the back end, so at least we're on the right track. We stayed at KOA 47 nights this year at an average of over $61 per night. Not quite double our average for the year, but it's getting pretty close. So as much as I love KOA, we're gonna try to avoid them even less next year. You know, I think our viewpoint has changed a lot as far as what we look for in campgrounds from year 1 to year 2.
Sure.
For sure, I know we've went through periods of time where it was all about being cheap and close to everything, and here lately it's been more of the let's just find a place that gives us a great experience that's still kind of close to everything. Really, at the end of the day, it's all about you and how you camp and what makes your experience the best. We stay near a lot of towns because we like to be close to a gym to go work out and get our exercise, and a grocery store to get our rations and things like that.
That's true.
But every now and then it's great to step off the beaten path, get away from everything in a place like KANAB, Utah, or Elephant Butte, New Mexico, and have some true solitude out there. Our comfort zone's still pretty comfortable. If you remember our video we did last year where we kind of recapped our campground spend for the first year of full-time RVing, we did talk about Harvest Toast. I actually shot a whole video on it because it may not be for everyone either, and I'm starting to think it's not for us. With me having to work all week, I really need to be stationary Monday through Friday and do my moving on the weekends. Most Harvest hosts don't offer that. They're really just for a day or two on a stop through, so I probably won't be renewing Harvest Hosts for 2024, but I got a few months yet to make that decision.
Go find you a campground that makes you feel good when you leave.
And when it makes you feel good, the cost isn't such an important factor. I hope this helped you guys out. If you haven't, go ahead and give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't already, or let us know in the comments some campgrounds we should check out in 2024, because we're only planned out for about the next 2 weeks, and then it's an open book for the rest of the year.
That's a great idea. Drop us your favorite, share with the rest, and maybe we'll all find those special gems.
That's it. That's all for us this time. We'll see you guys on the next video.
See you later. The Stillwell RV.
So we'll break down a little more of the details on what we spend, how we spend it, and where we spend it towards the end of the video. So the first honorable mention I want to get into is lost. If I'm going to record, I'm going to screw up.
So here are the bottom of the 10, the bottom of the top 10, the bottom of the best. Here's 5 campgrounds that we liked.
Here's 5 campgrounds that we liked.